Now, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza certainly does not have a shortage of animatronics. Over the years, we've seen tons and tons of iterations from Scott Cawthon. But with all these different animatronics, it's only a matter of time until some, if not most of them, become more and more irrelevant. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be discussing animatronics that either only had 1 or 2 game appearances, or just are not remembered at all throughout the fan base. Maybe their lore significance just wasn't enough, or maybe they just didn't make a connection with the fans. So let's get started. Now, the first animatronics I want to talk about here is the animatronics from the Pinwheel Fun House section of FNAF World, pretty much taking you to one of the endings of the game once you complete it, and had some of the harder enemies in the game, these being White Rabbit, Red Bear, and Tangle. Now, immediately you can tell something looks very, very fishy about these guys. They look exactly the same as their in-game counterparts. So we have Tangle that looks like Mangle, we have Red Bear, which is obviously a copy of Fredbear, and then we have White Rabbit, which is a clone of this guy right here. I don't want to have to butcher this name, so I'll just display it on the screen right now, but these guys only made 1 appearance out of all the Five Nights at Freddy's games, and FNAF World was it. In fact, they never even left Pinwheel Fun House. And I'm sure there's no other place in Five Nights at Freddy's for these guys, so I'm sure they will be lost forever. In fact, a lot of the FNAF World animatronics will be lost forever, because at the end of the day, they really won't fit into any other Five Nights at Freddy's games for the most part. Some here and there might get their last appearance in a future game, but for the most part, these characters are not going to be seen ever again. Now I want to switch up and talk about the FNAF 4 Halloween update animatronics. Animatronics like Jacko Chica and Jacko Bonnie, Nightmare BB, the Marionette. These guys, they made a few other appearances outside of their original game, such as FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night, but other than just being reskins of the original animatronics in FNAF 4, they really never had much of a spotlight on them because the FNAF 4 Halloween update was never a canon event. That never really happened. It was just a reskin of the games to celebrate Halloween. The models for these skins were very interesting though, and I would like to call attention to that. I mean, if you look at the models for Jacko Chica and Jacko Bonnie, they really do look haunting. The Nightmare Mangle skin looks really, really good, and the Night Marionette just adds a nice, creepy vibe to it. Nightmare BB did end up making it into Ultimate Custom Night as well, even though I don't really think that there was much of a place for him. They still managed to include him, and his skin was pretty cool as well, but I do wish that they did something with Freddy and Fredbear's skin. Now, this character I'm not really sure is that obscure, because it does sort of make an appearance in every single game. However, it is usually hidden, and this character is obviously Endo, as you saw. The reason I say it is obscure though is because it's only really made 3 main appearances in games. That being FNAF 1, where you can see him through the camera just plop down right on the workbench, waiting to be utilized in a suit, right? FNAF 2, where he's seen crawling in the right-hand vent right towards your office, and does not jump scare you. It's very strange that he doesn't either. I mean, he's fully in the game. You can see him climbing towards you to maybe attack you, and there's not even a jump scare animation in the game for him. It's very strange, but not as strange as Endo's 3rd appearance, which is FNAF World. Both iterations, Endo 1 and Endo 2, from FNAF 1 and 2 respectively, are characters that can be utilized on your team in your RPG battle, right? I get that FNAF World was just kind of a culmination of everything that was in the series that far, but including the Endos might have been a little silly, but to be honest, a lot of the decisions in FNAF World were also pretty silly. Now, FNAF Pizzeria Simulator also had a bunch of animatronics that mostly had one-time uses aside from Ultimate Custom Night, but one set of animatronics that really interested me was Trash and the Gang. And now for most people, they'll agree with me that Trash and the Gang was the best part of FNAF Pizzeria, right? Well, aside from the story. But still, these bootleg animatronics from Temu just did not make the cut in future games, understandably because they are very underwhelming characters. They did get a little bit of representation in Ultimate Custom Night with jump scares and everything, but the jump scares couldn't kill you. They would just play with your vision for a little bit and then return you back to normal. I do really like these guys though, just because they are really funny. They remind me of animatronics you might see in a trailer park knockoff of Chuck E. Cheese. A few animatronics I also find pretty silly from Pizzeria Simulator are the Lemonade Clown and Fruit Punch Clown. These guys never actually did have another appearance in any other games, so these guys truly are obscure, but there's just not a lot of information to go off with about them. They do share the same minigame, but at the end of the day, that's all they have. Their main purpose is to move their arms back and forth and open their mouth in excitement when they give kids lemonade or fruit punch, right? No harm, no foul. Now, for the last few, I want to revisit FNAF 2. Alright, we have some animatronics here that just didn't get that much attention. For sure, we had JJ, the color swap version of BB that just hides under the table watching you menacingly from time to time, right? This character did also appear in Ultimate as well, but never really had a significant role outside of that. We had Shadow Freddy, who would linger in the back storage room once all the other old animatronics had cleared out. His origin story is still unknown, but he did end up appearing in FNAF World again. And again, we have this Shadow Bonnie, whose nickname is this set of letters. And this character kinda has made a few appearances, whether it be in the Shadow Bonnie form we see in FNAF 2, the arcade version we see in FNAF 3, or even the playable character version in FNAF World. This one has made it in quite a few games, but should still be considered pretty obscure. Its background story and significance to the lore isn't really explored that often, but maybe it should be. Maybe there should be a little bit more information on where this Shadow Bonnie comes from, what its purpose was, and what it could do for the lore. But as we inch closer and closer to the newer age of FNAF, I'm starting to doubt that we'll ever see what Shadow Bonnie really was. Other than that, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I have the merch link in the description below if you want to check any of that out, and I'll see you in the next video.